What is going on, guys? It's Mr. Banks here coming at you live, literally now, for another trade recap review using my BBR strategy. That is the bounce, break, reject strategy. But before we get started, go ahead and click that subscribe button right here so you don't miss any of these beautiful educational videos that we provide for you for free to make you the consistent, successful, disciplined trader that I know all of you are. Now, let's get started. I am going to do the trade recaps from the Wolves of Wealth Discord. As you know, this is the community that I run. Here are the wins from today. You know, we bank every single day, but this community, guys, is for all of you. It'll make you a better trader. It'll make you a better person. We have everything from options calls, commons calls, long-term. We have dividends, small accounts, options chat, small account chat, everything for you, whole education center, real estate, business, everything to make you a wealthy person. Now, let's get started with our homework. As we can see, today I had Banks Watch. As I put out this every single day, I had SPY reject at 380, 382 for puts, bounce at 375 for calls, or break for puts. I also had Amazon reject 120, 121 for puts, bounce at 117 for calls, or break for puts. Google reject 100, 101 for puts, break 101 for calls. And AMD reject 74.60 to 75.50 for puts, break over 75.50 for calls, and bounce at 73.50 for calls, or break for puts. Now, as you guys know, these levels that I have are acting as pivot points, right, guys? As pivot points. So these are major levels that I find using the bounce, break, reject strategy. And you can use these levels to either get to the call side or to get to the put side, right, guys? Because they are pivot point levels. So whichever way it breaks, bounces, or rejects, you can take that trade. So multiple trades within these trade plans. Now, I did create this strategy so simple that a child could use it. I think it is the best, simplest, easiest, and most profitable option strategy there is. Now, I made this strategy over 9+ years of trading and experience, and I finally have made something and developed it for all of you. So, right before we get started, I will say, if you don't want to join our community, I do have the super follow as well. So go ahead and click that super follow button. I do give all these trade plans to all my super followers every single day to make you a profitable trader. Now let's get started with SPY. Now I did have reject 380, 382 for puts, bounce 375 for calls, or break for puts. Now we knew 375 was a major level. It also was a point of control on this 10-minute, but 375, 375. How did I find that? Well, pretty easy. The bounce, break, reject strategy, or simplified, the BBR strategy, uses their pre-market highs, the pre-market lows, right? Previous day's highs, previous day's lows, as well as previous close, as well as, this is the biggest thing, previous major support or previous major resistances, guys. Because as we know, stocks only do three things. They will bounce on support, reject off of resistance, and either break through resistance or break down through support. So guys, very simple strategy. It is a level strategy. Now, if you're used to supply and demand or support and resistance, this strategy will be perfect and work for you beautifully. So 375, as I said, pre-market highs, pre-market lows, had these drawn. You know, after hours, we had a nice area of support at 375. This is how I found my level, right? At 375. So the pre-market low, or you can say the after hours low, found support here. And then I also had 380 up here, which was the pre-market high, or you could, the pre-market high, but we also can say, look at the day before. What is it? It is also a big major area that was support, right? We bounced off of it yesterday during FOMC. So again, these are convictions that you can put together to find your levels, right? So like I said, a previous area of either support resistance. We saw that this was a previous area of major support. It was also the pre-market high. So this is why I had that level for above. And this is why I had 375 for below, right? This was a major area that we bounced off of um, during after hours and gapped up into pre-market. So let's take a look here how we could have played this. Um, as we could see at open, we came down and guess where we bounced off of? 375. What do you know, right? Um, when we find these areas, big areas of support resistance, they're going to carry on to the next day, weeks, sometimes even months. You can look back and find where these areas are, right? Support and resistance will always carry over. Major ones do. So as we can see, 375 was a major area of support um, leading in to the after hours yesterday and then gapping up into pre-market. So as we can see here today, 375 was the level to play on SPY, at least for my levels. 375 bounce for calls, 375 break for puts, right, guys? This was my trade plan, had my levels drawn. As we could see, we had beautiful multiple opportunities to get a bounce for calls off of 375, but we also had a couple opportunities to take puts past 375, right, guys? Because what did I say at the beginning of this video? Beginning of this video, I said these act as major pivot points. You can see that these levels, support and resistance levels, will also act as major pivot points. So you can play them in either direction, right? Yeah, 375 bounce for calls. We had a couple opportunities here. Major opportunity right here. We had a nice little 1.5 point move. And then also the break of 375 came down for another 1.5 point move. A lot of chop today, but as you can see, we could have had some great plays using these levels. And once we broke 375 here again, was the even bigger one that gave us a 2.5 point move today. And so as you can see, you could have played this level all day long. This is how my BBR strategy works. These levels work all day long throughout, right? So this wasn't a level. I'm just going to go over this real quick though. This wasn't a level for me at 377, 377.50. As you could see, it was a volume profile though level where the volume died down. But just like my BBR levels of major areas, where did this level go? We can also see that this was a major area. We could see we found a little bit of support here at close, right? Because the previous close is also included in the BBR strategy. So this area, as you can see, we found some support, but we also broke down because guys, what happens when support breaks down? When support breaks down, that turns into resistance. And likewise, when we have resistance and we break through, we want to find that becomes support, right? So support turn resistance, resistance turns support, right? They flip-flop constantly back and forth. So as you can see, this was kind of found an area of support at close yesterday. We broke through. So now it kind of became resistance later on. We can also see this level play out, at 377.22 area right here, right, guys? Right? So again, the wick played at the close of yesterday, finding the support and breaking. We also see, at the body of this candle, look, this was a major area of resistance as well and support, right? Support, bounce off support, retest for resistance. And then when we broke, we found support again. And then as you can see, this game of playing back and forth between support and resistance. So you guys, this is also a video. I hope it helps you find support and resistances as well in your trading. So again, this was the SPY trade plan. This is how you could have played it for a couple, all day, honestly. But let's also take a look now at Amazon. I had reject 120 to 121 for puts, and I had bounce at 117 for calls or break for puts. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Amazon. Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. Everybody loves Amazon. So As you can see, again, how did I find 117? Well, if you want to take a look here, you can see that this was the pre-market low. Um, right? Pre-market low, BBR strategy. What do we use? Pre-market lows, pre-market highs, previous close, previous days, highs and lows, and then major areas of support and resistances, right? So again, we had 117 right here. We saw kind of with SPY was a major area of support going into after hours, and then we gapped up. Again, this is how I found this 117 level. And as we see at open, we had again a bunch of opportunities, guys, to take calls off of a 117 bounce, right? Major calls. Um, Again, we can also take a scout for puts past 117, right? So as you can see, these levels are major pivot point levels. You can play them in either direction. So my trade plans and the BBR strategy always gives you two plays once that level is in play, right? We can either take calls if it bounces, or we could take puts if it breaks down. So again, I found this 117 level as a pre after hours close yesterday. I just include this as a pre-market, I guess, but was also a big area of support. And then my 120, 121 area did not get filled today. But as you can see, just like SPY yesterday, where did we find support? We found support on 120. So this was a major area of support that we found yesterday. Obviously, it was broken. But as you can see, this is why I had that 120, 121 area for Amazon, right? So I hope you guys are getting the concept of this. Very simple. So again, you could have played this level multiple times in either direction today. Now let's go ahead and go to Google. I had reject 100, 101 for puts, break 101 for calls. So now let's go ahead and type in Google for me right here. All right. Now Google, take a look. 100, right? 100. So again, let's look back. I had reject 100, 101 for puts, break 101 for calls. As you can see, 100, guys, right? Because this was a 1 point difference. 100 was a level, and then draw out 101 as a level, right? You can see they were both in play today. But this 100 level, we did get a reject here, and you could have took a break for puts. But again, you can also take these levels as calls. Now, I did want to play it safe because I do have members and people rely on these trade plans. And sometimes I know people just rely on them blindly to take calls. And so I really want to make it safe for my members in the Wolves of Wealth and my super followers if they are going to take a call at a breaking point. That's why I had 101 as my break for calls instead of 100. But again, the 100 level was in play. And as you can see, it was in play all day long perfectly. A break of 100, you could have took calls. Again, I wanted to play it safe for my members. And as well, a breakdown of 101 for puts. I know I had a super follower today take puts right here at this first rejection. Obviously, it didn't get exactly to 101, but again, you guys need to know candlesticks and price action. Some of these don't hit the level exactly, to the cent, but a 50-cent difference, you guys should definitely be able to see that and take that reject for the put. So again, levels in play today. Again, between 100 and 101 reject multiple times, right? Multiple times. And then we can also take calls off at this 100 level that was in play, giving you some major action. And here we go. At this 101 level, this gave you a major reject as well. So these two levels, 100 and 101, gave you some great plays on Google today. And I hope all of you guys took it. If you are my super followers and members, I know some did and banked. So congratulations on that. Um, but yeah, you could see that the 100 level was a major area of support, right? Major previous area of support. Again, part of the BBR strategy. And then you can see the support turn into resistance. What do you know? What did I say? If support gets broken, it turns into resistance. And if resistance gets broken, it turns into support and it will flip flop consistently, right? So as you can see, this thing plays out perfectly. Support resistance. So definitely understand that concept, please. It will help your trading immensely. Now moving on to AMD. This is probably the most beautiful play I had today. AMD reject 74.60, 75.50 for puts, break 75.50 for calls, bounce at 73.50 for calls or break for puts. So again, I have these levels. I give you both directions because I don't want to be biased. I used to be biased for you guys. And sometimes people wouldn't take a play because they were just trying to bank on my bias. But again, these are pivot levels that you can use for either direction. So let's go ahead and get started and get into AMD. So AMD, guys, this is actually a beautiful one to show you guys. I probably should have just shown you this first. I hope you guys made it to this point in the video. I had 74.60 reject for puts. If you want to take a look back, I also yesterday had 70 below 74.60 for puts or bounce for calls. That was my trade plan yesterday. I only played AMD. Besides SPY, obviously major day on FOMC, but AMD was my only trade plan because we had our straddle strategy. If you're in the group, you knew that you banked. But yes, 74.60 was a major area. And as we could see yesterday, pre-market low, right? Major area of support the previous day, which as you can see, this is carrying over now 3 days in a row. That's 74.60 carried over 3 days in a row. These major areas of support or resistances will carry over. So please understand that and know that. As you can see, 74.60 was beautiful yesterday. I hit it almost to the cent, off by 3 cents. So as you can see, this was a major area of support going also back to the day before. And even in this pre-market, right? Pre-market, it was a major area of resistance. We can see major area of resistance. It broke down before the day started, but that's why I also had my 73.50 break for puts as well. And as you can see, where did I find that? Super simple. Going into the after hours close, it found the support at this area. Again, I kind of just include this in pre-market, but after hours closed yesterday, 73.50 was in play. So after we rejected 74.60, which was the support, right? Major area of support, rejected that. We started failing in pre-market, and then 73.50 was my next area. I was looking for a bounce or puts. Again, BBR strategy, pre-market or after hours low of the previous day, major area of support. 73.50. Once we broke, you could have just played puts right there as well. Played beautifully, gave us, 3.5 to 4 points down today. 4 points down today. This was one of the most beautiful plays that came out. I've been playing AMC for a while now, and it gives some really good movement once you understand these tickers. And that's one thing, guys. I hope that all of you aren't just going around trying to find this ticker, this stock to play. Please choose 3 to 5 stocks, learn them and play them over and over and over again. Sometimes they don't hit, but that's okay. As a consistent trader, you're not meant to trade every single day, right? Consistent, successful traders do not trade every single day. But this is why my watch list usually consists of 3 to 5 trades. I kind of play the same things over and over and over again. I understand them, I play them well. But even if you don't do that, this BBR strategy works for any kind of stock. You can use it to find levels for whichever one you want. And I guarantee you will be a profitable, successful trader using this strategy. So again, AMD 7350 break was beautiful. You can see we kind of almost, 20 cents off. Not, we don't have to be to the cent. But what happens when stocks break, right? They're going to come back and retest, come back and retest. So when we saw what you could have done on this break, which I like to do with the BBR strategy, is to go ahead and go in light, right? If we're going to play the break, go in lightly, right? So if it does reverse your bounce, so say you saw this, the market was drippy. You're like, okay, this is going to break. It's going to get drippy. The rest of the chips today in the video, they were all drippy. I'm going to go in light, right? I think this is going to be a nice short play today. So go in light. If we do get that bounce and it comes back on you, you're not going to be out a lot of money, right? You're just going to be in lightly. And what you can do is wait until so that retest comes back, right? Until we get a retest back and we know that it's going to break and keep below that level. And once we know that, we can take a bigger entry on the stock, right? We could take a bigger entry on the stock. Now, for exits, we can go by levels. We can also go by 20%. I always look for 20% on the trade. That is my go-to. And I'm usually looking for one major good trade for the day, and AMD was it. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, please like and subscribe. Share this video. Let's become successful, disciplined traders. My name is Mr. Banks. I'll be coming out with these trade recaps daily. So go ahead and subscribe. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you next time. And I am out. Peace.